Well, good morning, Top Fan Rivalry, family, supporters, followers, all the above. Welcome to Around the Diamond. Again, this week, Sam is actually out this week. Otherwise, he would have been here to help me interview this amazing individual who I've gotten to know. Please don't have him tell a story about directions and whether or not I know where I'm going to New York, because I may or may not have gone to the wrong place before. But he graciously met me after like a 47-hour train ride and cab ride and everything like that. So who knows? But anyways, good morning, Blake. How the heck are you, man?
Good morning. Doing pretty good. Trying to not freeze to death here in New York.
You guys are gonna get that storm again this weekend, huh?
Yeah, it may stay south and then blow out to sea before it really does anything to the tri-state area, which
Yeah.
we're still we got depending on where you were about a foot of snow, and it's been a single digit since, so it's still out there. It looks like it just snowed last night, but hopefully we don't get anything added to it.
So I was talking to some people. So one person in Virginia that lives kind of in the middle of nowhere, lives by DC, but lives kind of out in the country. She got snowed in like crazy. She's 5'3" and she walked out and she's like, I'm not even gonna get a tape measure. It was past her knees,
Yeah, it's
the
crazy.
snow. And then another gal down in Florida, apparently it's gonna be 7 degrees tomorrow, in Florida. I'm like, what the heck is going on?
Yeah,
Right?
it's insane. And then I think the Carolinas are going to get this storm now, and I don't know if
Yeah.
you've ever been down there when they get snow. It's kind of hilarious, to watch a rookie deal with snow.
We got snow about, I don't know, 6 years ago in LA, and it snowed for 30 minutes, 40 minutes, and it
Mm.
actually stuck on the ground for about, I don't know, an hour or so. And like there was state of emergencies everywhere. They were telling people, stay in your house, don't drive. And because obviously we don't know how to salt the ground, or we don't know how to prepare for any type of snow. And people were just freaking out. What's going on? We got snow. You guys, that
Yeah,
means it got below 32 degrees and it just happened to be raining.
yeah,
Relax.
right, right, right.
I mean,
And it goes away quickly, at least for you guys when it's like that. Usually with us too, like it'll snow and then the next day it'll just get washed away or melt. It'll be warm, but this is here for probably another couple weeks.
yeah. Well, it's almost time for baseball, which means the snow melts away. And I've never been in this scenario because I've always been a West Coast kid. But I was talking to a friend, a buddy of mine who lived on the East Coast, and he says, Bill, you have no idea. Baseball meant like the end of winter. It was spring, things melted. It was the time where you really felt like you can go outside again and really just be you for a little bit. And for us, we have summer and light summer out here, so we don't know the
Yeah.
difference. I mean, you've been out here.
Yeah, yeah, it's beautiful. And your friend that said that, it's so true. It's like it just there's this a change, like the trees start to blossom again, and it's just you're getting your shit, all of a sudden you see the sun again. It's like, it's not just cold, it's like the sky is like perpetually gray. The trees are just like dead sticks. It's the gloomier and gloomier the older you get too.
It's the older you get, the more you just look at it and go, hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why Florida is becoming overpopulated with people from the Northeast.
Yeah, no wonder. Yeah, exactly. I have my aunt lives out in a place called the Villages, which is like a kind of a huge retirement community down there. And if you go in, if you took a pin and then you went circular to her neighborhood and the 5 neighborhoods around her, more than half of them are New Yorkers
Uh,
that have retired down in Florida. They're just
yeah,
tired of the
yeah.
winter. We're done. We're out. So
So my parents did. My wife's parents is the same thing. They're from Midwest. She grew up in Nebraska, so but they're down in Florida too.
yeah. Yeah.
Sunshine.
They're done. All right, we can talk weather all day, but neither one of us is a weather guy. Blake is coming off his world tour after being a guest on Good Morning America. I mean, he's been requested for autograph sessions. We were lucky that his agent let us have him this morning. It was amazing. I mean, It was there's a lot of deferred compensation attached to this contract that we have with him. A lot of pizza or hot dogs when we get out there. Something I don't remember what the entire contract was, but the new Gary is on with us today. So Blake,
Yeah.
let's talk Mets baseball, man. You sent me the funniest text I think I've gotten in probably 6 months with you filming a picture of Yankees fans and Mets fans in your commentary. That was by far, like, you have to understand, the first time I saw it, I didn't have the volume on. And I'm like, why is Blake sending me this? And so I sent it to my wife, Amber, who, I said to Amber, and I said, Blake sent us this. And she responds, LOL, that is hilarious. I'm like, what? And then I turned on the volume, and this is the best thing I've ever heard. So,
Yeah.
talk to me about the Mets last year. Talk to me about this quote unquote hot stove, or maybe not as hot, and just like walk me through the Mets this year.
Well, the thing with the video that I sent was like it so encompasses what it's like to be part of this fan base where it's just always doom, and that's what last season was. We had so much optimism, we were like pounding our chests when we signed Soto,
Mhm.
and what happens? We know how that movie ends, but somehow we thought this was going to be a different outcome, but it wasn't. There we were, not even in the playoffs, just sitting on the sidelines, and it was unfolding through late August and then early September, and it's just like, if you're old enough, you know that this is going to be the way it happens again. We're just going to crumble. And even though you were so optimistic back in the spring, it's just so typical of this team. And then they followed it up with the early off season. It just kept getting worse and worse to the point where it was like almost not real. That they like lost the favorite players. It was just doom and gloom until we started, I guess, 2026. Once we got through the holidays and we had a few big signings, everything else just seemed like a cruel joke. Like, is this really even happening? Like, are they trying to kill the fan base, or are they just trying to run the team to the ground? What is going on? But people are smarter and they know the sport better and the business side of it. So
Mhm.
you trust them, and here we are sitting again, optimistic about the beginning of a new season, and hopefully it doesn't do the same thing to us that last September did.
So I'm going to ask you, Mets fan as a whole, but you them personally, the same question. So for you personally, what one was harder to take, losing Pete or losing Edwin? And then as a Mets community, what have you heard out there? Which one was tougher to take?
I think the answer to both of those questions is Pete. The Diaz move, it was surprising,
Mhm.
but I think people look at a closer a little bit different than a position player, especially because of the what what Pete was to us. Uh, Diaz had major, dramatic moments, and the fans loved him, and then he would enter the game, and the whole vibe of the stadium would just become electric. But I don't trust a closer. I never. If who's the one closer, Mariano Rivera, you can trust and be confident when he came
Yeah.
in. And even if you are confident with your closer, for how many years are you going to be confident with him? Whereas you can have a first baseman and he could be around for a long time consistently. It's not always the case, obviously, but Pete had those. He had the drama and he had the staying power, and he was there every game, and the fans loved him. That was, to me, way more of a loss than losing the closer. Emotionally, because Pete Alonso, that was getting City Field rocking. But we'll miss them both for sure. But
Yeah.
you know, maybe it's just funny to see how he got replaced and the way it went down. Talking about Diaz, that whole overnight, like, what a surprise, and then Devin Williams, and now he's gone. It's like, wow.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny. I was on an X Spaces. I've been on a couple of them with some New York fans it's mixed between Yankees and Mets fans, and they are, to say the least, are very passionate. and they have their way to be passionate. I'll say that. And I think the Diaz one, they were more pissed off that he went to the Dodgers because they felt like the Dodgers were already loaded. Whereas Pete, it was a personal thing because I mean the guy grew up in your organization. The guy won home run derbies as a Met. Like he you know, I'm not surprised that you say that is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So I mean I
And it's
don't
just,
understand the business side of that.
yeah. I know it's like, you still didn't really replace him. Like, well, we don't have a stud first baseman. We don't even know who's going to play first base right now. You
Yeah.
know, we have middle infielders like for days, and
Got like 5 second baseman.
yeah, I know. Like, don't hit the ball there, and you're good.
Yeah. The it was interesting because I equate that to on the other side with Clayton Kershaw. Every year they renegotiated a contract, you know, as he got older. And Dodger fans were pretty specific and said, just give him whatever he wants. Like we don't really care. He's homegrown talent. It's going to be weird to see him in a Birds uniform this year. That's for sure.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, free agents that you would like. What about Uncle Stevie going after Luis Ariz out in San Diego to put him at first?
I mean, we'll we'll take it. We'll take it. Why not?
We'll
I
take
mean,
whoever wants to show up right now. We're good.
yeah. I mean, if we were going to get Schwarber, I mean, what we do? Who isn't a free agent or a trade that Mets fans haven't been convinced that we were going to get, regardless of position, this
Mhm.
offseason? You know, there was so much. Um, uh, uh, Kyle Tucker. I mean, I guess every team is like that, where you think you're going to get the next big free agent, and then the ones we sign are like seem to be like out of the blue. Like I didn't see the Bo Bichette thing happen, and I didn't see Lubab come in. I didn't see any of that happening. But like you said, like who's on first?
Yeah. Mets fans don't, and Blake and I talk a lot offline about this stuff. But Mets fans know this, but most baseball fans don't know this. You guys actually have a really good lineup if you can execute, right? I mean, you got Francisco Lindor, you got Bo Bichette, you mentioned Lubov. You've got you've got a decent lineup there. It's just a matter of whether or not it's enough on the right days, right? I mean, what happens if Francisco Lindor, when not if, I mean, every baseball player goes into a little slump during the season. So what happens if Francisco Lindor goes into a slump in mid-May and he's 3 for 27? You can't have Lubov and Bo Bichette in that same type of a slump at the same time.
Yeah, and I
So
think the chemistry seems to be what I think at least led to the dismantling of the core of the team. And you see all rumors. I don't know how far they travel throughout the country or even within the outside of the fan base, but you hear stories about certain players that aren't here anymore, and how they sort of changed the vibe of the clubhouse, and maybe weren't team chemistry wasn't all that great.
yeah,
Everybody wants to go after Soto for changing that, but I don't. He just showed up. There was that
one
little.
year.
Yeah, he's just got here, and this guy, say what you want, he's always smiling. He's always with his teammates, and he's always out there high fiving. And he's a hard worker. But it's the other players. You hear stories about Jeff McNeil. You hear stories about maybe even Pete Alonso not getting along with certain guys. Um, so it's going to be interesting to see if the dynamic in the clubhouse changes the outcome of the wins and losses.
Yeah, I'm looking. You're 100%, and I think the Juan Soto thing. I think that bugs people, or they go after him a because of his salary, and b because he's a big kid. Like he does that little dance in the batter's box sometimes when
Yeah,
pitches are close or whatever, and people get upset about that, and I don't understand why. Blake, it's like if you had the opportunity to sign with the Cardinals for 200 million, or sign with the Astros for what Soto signed for. You signed with the Astros. I mean, listen, that's generational money. This guy will never work again after this. I mean,
Yeah.
his grandkids are not going to work.
I think people just love to hate, really,
Yeah.
what it comes down to. You know what I mean? And it's not just sports fans. It's people. Are gonna feel that way about Sydney Sweeney. They're gonna feel that way about whatever actor that all the girls are obsessed about. All the guys are gonna find something to say, something negative about it, whether they're even conscious of it or not. They're gonna hate unless in sports it's your guy. Then you're gonna defend him.
Yeah, 2000%. I'm looking at your depth chart, Blake, and I'm shocked at how good it is. I
Yeah.
forget you guys have a really good. So you're starting. You've got Freddie Peralta. You've got McLean, Sean Manaea, Clay Holmes, David Peterson, Senga, and then Tong. I mean, you guys got a good pitching rotation there. I think it's funny that you have two or three third basemen listed. But here's a question. So I saw this 2 seasons ago, and you and I talked about this via text. Mark Vientos had an amazing postseason 2 seasons ago.
Yeah.
Didn't have the best of seasons this last season. Do you figure out a way to get him in the lineup, or is he just one of your bench guys?
I personally want to get him in the lineup every day. I don't know. Maybe he's our first baseman. Why not move him around? Uh, Can we? Because a postseason, is 2024 a fluke, or can we get that back? And Pete Alonso taught us you can get it back because he was terrible that season and then turned it around for the postseason and then was great the season after.
Yeah.
So let's do that with Vientos. Let's get him. Let's get him in there as much as we can. And I kind of feel like I'm hoping when spring training starts, we see him, taking time at first and whatnot.
Your depth chart has Beatty there, Jorge Polanco, and Vientos there. But like you say, it's not Pete Alonso. It's not somebody that you're looking at over there going, let's not mess with this guy.
Right. Yeah. Yep. I mean, unless he's putting up numbers like he did in that postseason consistently throughout the year.
I'm excited for you guys about Lubob because I've thought for a long time, this guy needs a fresh start. This guy needs something besides for Chicago. He needs to get out of Chicago. No, were you with us at Anaheim when we were at Anaheim? Were they playing? They weren't playing
It was the
Chicago, were
Reds.
they?
It was the Reds.
Reds. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's. I saw Lubob play this last year in Anaheim, and you could tell how good he was, but you could tell he was also kind of on cruise control. Like it was almost I don't care, and the New York media will eat that alive if he acts like that.
Oh yeah, he better bring his caring A game to New York
Yeah.
because they will
Great plus
diagnose things and they will plant things that aren't there to make him look bad if they can.
Okay, as a fan of the Mets, are you happier that you got Bo Bichette, or would have you wanted Kyle Tucker?
I think happier with Bo Bichette, and part of, again, maybe this goes to what you just said about caring and what I said about clubhouse dynamic. But as soon as Tucker was out of the equation, the negative stories came out about him and not caring and being a little bit lazy and missing time, and that sort of like eased the blow of not getting a guy that you thought you were going to get. And then Bo Bichette is kind of the opposite. You're going to get somebody that's passionate about the game, and hopefully he's compatible with New York. That's always the thing too, right? You get a good player that comes to your team and all of a sudden they just I don't know, intimidated or just can't, frustrated with what they get scrutinized with.
Well, what's interesting about Bo Bichette, I couldn't agree with you more. I mean, Bo. So I'm saying this online, and this is going to get replayed, and I'm going to get lynch mobbed by the Dodger fans. But Blake, you got to have my back on this one, okay? If I get lynch mobbed by the Dodger fans, can I come be a Mets fan? I mean,
our door is always open.
Is the door always open?
Dogs open.
So Bo Bichette is only 27 years old. So he turns 28 this season. The guy's only been in the league for 7 years, yet he has 904 hits. And you have him now for what, 4 years, I think it is?
Yeah, and everybody wants to say with the opt out, that's it's always
Yeah.
he whatever.
But if he does, I mean, he hit 311 for you guys last year. Yes, mind you, he had an injury in there, but I mean, he hit 311 for Toronto. But what's interesting about Bo Bichette is you're going to watch him cross the 1,000 mark, right? The 1,000 hit mark. And possibly, if he has a couple of good seasons, you can watch him cross 1,500. And then he'll be 31 at the end of his contract. And he's got 1,500 hits with you guys, as a career. Do you sign him to a long-term deal and let him try to chase 3,000 in your jersey? Who
Right.
knows?
Yeah. Yeah. And then all of a sudden he's one of those marquee players or the players that you look back on. So yeah, that potential is there. I think also one of the things the Mets were really lacking in last season was, getting that hit with runners in scoring position. And that's what made Bichette so attractive. And it just sort of like, oh, right, that makes sense. As a fan, maybe you're not paying attention to the little details once the off season hits, and you're just
Mhm.
looking at like, okay, we need an outfielder, we need a pitcher, we need a first baseman, but yeah, we also need somebody to put the ball in play when there's somebody on second base and get that runner in, and that's what makes that move even more attractive, and hopefully he does it with us.
Well, and what makes him yes, what makes him even more attractive is you got, first and second and nobody out. And he's also the kind of guy that can lay one down and I mean, he's not opposed to laying one down and getting the runners over because people
Right.
expect him to try to drive it into the gap, play back on him. He lays it down. Maybe he beats it out. Maybe he doesn't. But now you got second. I mean, he's an all around guy. I'm a little nervous, just a little, about him playing third base, but it'll be
Yeah.
fine. It'll be fine.
Yeah. Well, hopefully it's a productive spring.
Well, he has, I mean, having that left side of the infield of being him and Lindor is going to be a good group for you. It's going to be a really good group for you.
Yeah.
That's exciting. That's very exciting.
Well, I mean, Frank, who you've gotten to know over the past year or so,
Yeah.
said something the other day at work that really like I was like, wow, I don't know. He said A-Rod did it. He came here as a shortstop and wasn't going to take Jeter's position, moved to third, and he did great. And I was like,
Yeah.
wow, that was talk about laying in some optimism. That was some early morning happiness. I was like, all right, this cup of
Yeah.
coffee's really all right. What else you got, Frank?
Yeah.
Because I'll take that. I'll take an A-Rod comparison all day if that's what it means for.
Yeah. Yeah. I honestly don't think you guys have anything to worry about. The Phillies didn't do much this offseason. The Braves are still struggling. In fact, the fan base, you're going to appreciate this. I won't read it live on the air, but a guy who you'll get to know in the community is a huge Braves fan. He lives down in the South. And he sends me a text message yesterday. And he says, here's to the 20, I can't remember how he worded it, but he basically said 2026 season is not starting off well. And then he put ... He goes, we're expecting snow today down in Atlanta. And so they're not going to do Fan Fest and they're not rescheduling it. And then he said something else I couldn't remember. He goes, but I mean, can we have anything else happen to us? We're just starting off the season where we stopped. I mean, we don't even get to go see our players and blah, blah, blah. For him, it's like a 7 or 8 hour drive over to Atlanta, but he and his boy were going to, like your boy, he and his boy are really, really into baseball, and they were going to make that drive, and they had had purchased autographs from different people, and now it's canceled.
Yeah. Right. All
So
right.
the Braves haven't done a lot. The Phillies haven't done a lot. It might be your division to take.
All right. Good. I like it. It's another dose of optimism. You and Frank.
thanks for the optimism. Here we go.
Yeah. So
Here we
a
go.
Yankee fan and a Dodger fan to try to pull the Mets fan out of this depressed state.
Yeah.
It's not so bad, friend.
Hey, we're all here for the same purpose, right? Let's go. Let's go.
Yeah. But I
Um,
mean, I'm just happy that there's players left that the Dodgers haven't snatched up.
what's that?
I'm just happy that there's still players out there that the Dodgers
Yeah,
haven't snatched up. You guys
I
are
know.
an
I
80-man
love your
roster
text
or
message
something.
about that.
Oh,
Yeah, I literally, Blake, I have no idea how. So Dave Roberts loves to go left, right, left, right, left, right, right. So I was talking with somebody and I thought, I don't know that there's a player in this lineup I want to pitch to. Maybe Andy Paez, maybe, but Tommy Edmonds can hurt you at any given time. But when you have Max Muncy batting seventh and
right.
Teoscar batting sixth, and you have Kyle Tucker batting fifth, I in a lot of those ball clubs, I mean, Teoscar's not batting seventh in the Mets lineup if he were in the Mets lineup, right? There's no way.
Right. Yeah.
It's no way. Anyways,
I don't know if you saw the meme. I'm sure you have actually, or I don't. Maybe I even sent it to you. It's a picture of Mr. Met, and it said the Dodgers signed Mr. Met to a 5-year deal, and it's just like,
I saw it. I know. I sent it to a couple of Mets fans. The teacher that you've met before at the stadium, Jen. I sent it to her, and her response was very New York, which was I won't repeat on the air. And then I saw one where Santa Claus signed with the Dodgers.
yeah.
I was like, all right, we're just grabbing everybody. Like, come on in. But but it's the Yankees of the 90s and early 2000s, right? Did the Yankees do the same thing?
Absolutely.
And
They did, and
so
it worked out pretty well. Like it's kind of working out for you guys right now.
yeah,
We just thought
they
it was gonna be us. We got the rich owner. We thought that, come on, this is gonna be us now.
I I mistakenly have to apologize because Blake, when you guys lost Kyle, so I'm messaging with a Toronto fan and I'll send you the screenshot of it. I swear to you, I interviewed this gal up in Toronto, and I said that morning that Kyle Tucker had signed, we didn't know yet, and I messaged her and I said, "Aren't you tired of waiting? Like, let's just get him signed." And she goes, "Yes." Dot dot dot. I just hope it's not like the Shohei thing where he's on the plane to Toronto and he signs with LA. And she knows I'm a Dodger fan. And I said, "No way. It's either you guys or the Mets, and from what every direction's pointing, he's going north." And she says, "Oh, I sure hope so." And 3 hours later, the news breaks that he signs with LA. And I just sent her a message. I said, "I'm so sorry." And the response was definitely one that, of a hurt fan for sure, which was
Yeah.
fine. But baseball's baseball. And I was frustrated that you guys have the richest owner in baseball. You don't get to Steve Cohen's level without learning how to negotiate a few things, right? And I mistakenly kind of ripped him online that night. I'm like, how do you get beat? How do you get beat in that negotiation process? Like, why isn't Kyle Tucker a Met? And I'm kind of ripping on him. And I'm thinking, we may not all like the guy at 1600 Pennsylvania, or we may, who knows, doesn't matter, but he doesn't lose negotiations, right? And I'm sure he's like telling Steve, "What do you do?" And then the very next morning, breaks about Bo Bichette, and I'm like, never mind, my bad. I had no clue.
Yeah.
But you had to have been thinking the same thing at some point. You had to have been thinking the same thing.
I've been thinking the same thing for 2 years. I mean,
Yeah.
the Soto deal was like dragging on. So I was thinking it then. I mean, ultimately it happened, but it
Yeah.
just felt like it should have happened sooner. But certainly this offseason, I was thinking it since day one. Like it just kind of like the World Series ended, and I just kind of like, you have the richest owner, you just expect signing, 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 like to
Mhm.
at least for the fan base,
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
prove to us that you are serious about bringing on these players and becoming a dynasty one day
Yeah.
that we've been hearing about.
Yeah. No, you guys got a great ballpark. You got a great fan base. They, there's a lot of things that are positive about being a Yankee, but there's a lot of things, that flip side of the coin, that aren't very positive. And there's a lot of things about a lot less pressure being a Met, where you can play, but you play on the biggest stage in baseball, right? If you go 1 for 5, they're not going to run you out of town like they tried to in the Bronx or whatever. And so, yeah. So Blake, I also have to tell you on that live on that X Spaces that I was on with some of the New York fans, they were asking me as a California kid, what did I think of the teams and everything, and I said, well, I can tell you right now, it's a lot easier to get into City Field than it is the stadium, and they said, no, no, there's never a problem. I always walk up, I get in Yankee Stadium, no problem. I'm like, do you know somebody? Do you
Yeah.
know somebody that I don't know? Because it took me an hour and a half. I was an hour and a half early to the game, and I got in the third inning. And he's like, "Was the president there? What was going on?" They were giving me a hard time, and I said, "I walked up City Field. Ask any New Yorker. We never have a problem with that." And if it wasn't so late, I would have texted you and said, "Blake, you need to hop on this. That you need to
Yeah,
defend
yeah,
my honor because you made a
yeah.
video about this."
I made the video about it, and I got killed for it a little bit, and I was like, I'm 48. I've been to Yankee Stadium. I've been to you're an idiot tourist, and you only go to the first entrance that's off of the subway." And I'm like, well, yeah, I could see that that entrance is crowded, and I had walked around the stadium, but they're all bad. And I like I said, like I've been to plenty of Yankee games, more so the old Yankee Stadium than the current one, and it was easier in playoff games in the early 2000s, post 9/11. Everybody wants to say, "Oh, it's post 9/11 world." I've been to the ALCS in 2003 and walked in half the time that the current Yankee Stadium takes to get into. Now, I don't know if but it's like, "Oh, it must have been bobblehead day." Like you said, president must have been there, or maybe there was a security threat. I don't know, but it took me forever to get in there one time, recently. And City Fields, yeah, maybe there's a line, but it moves.
Yeah,
Once it opens, I'm in within minutes, not
yeah.
hours.
Yeah, no, I preach. I what Blake is saying when if anybody watches this replay, I'm telling you right now, it's a real thing because we experienced it after you made that video. We had experienced it beforehand, and I thought I was crazy. But
Yeah.
anyway,
I mean, I have, friends of mine, coworkers that live in the Bronx and say the same thing. Yankee fans say the same thing. Yes, it may be a little bit easier in one way or the other, but come on, it's not one is an hour and the other one is 5 minutes, and if you just happen to not see it, it's bad. When it's bad everywhere. It's just maybe some days are, you know, maybe a Wednesday during a losing streak isn't as bad as a Sunday day game, but when it's bad, it's bad. And the other stadiums, you can get in and out. Everybody criticizes Dodger Stadium for, the same thing with but with traffic, and
yeah,
I had a much easier time getting in and out of Dodger Stadium when I was there this summer. It was great. I love Dodger Stadium, but nothing compared. I've never had that experience anywhere as that Yankee Stadium when I was there last, which was 2024.
yeah. No, you're right. I mean, I it's a gorgeous ballpark, but you got to be able to get in there and don't I mean the president wasn't there. There was no bobblehead. It was Yankees Mets, but we were there an hour and a half early. And yes, we did go in through the front entrance, but we walked down the perimeter of it down the left field line and tried to get in the entrance by the left field foul pole area, and that one still was busy. That one was
Yes,
worse than the front entrance, so we went back to the front
100%.
entrance.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah, I mean,
like,
like, if you go in, like, by right field, you can kind of expect it to be bad because, again, yeah, I'll give those fans the subway stop is right there.
yeah,
So that spot's gonna be the worst. But home plate, okay, maybe it's the second worst, but it wasn't a walk in the park on the left field side either.
no, no, no. We were at the home plate one where it says Yankee Stadium. It has the facade and it says Yankee Stadium. We weren't at the right field because I told the party that I was with, I'm like, we don't want to go to the right field one because that's where the subway stop is, and that's where everybody is going to be at. And period. It's just going to be what it is. So, anyways, all right. Before we wrap up, and this is kind of, usually with ATD we have specific things we're going to talk about. Today it was just Blake and I chatting. I wanted to get his views on the Mets. He's an incredibly busy guy raising a family and got a full-time job that is beyond very demanding. But he just does. I mean, as far as checking all the boxes, that the dude's doing it right. He's probably living the American dream, and sometimes it doesn't feel like it. But final thoughts on the Met, and I think you're hilarious when you say it takes a Yankees and a Dodger fan to pull a Met up. But final thoughts coming into the season, are you cautiously optimistic, or are you just kind of like, all right, let's get to May so that we know what we really have?
Well, thanks for that, by the way. But
Of course.
no, I'm gonna be extremely optimistic after 2 or 3 months of potentially considering uh selling all my Mets jerseys and not watching baseball again. Now it's here. It may be 2 degrees outside, but I can picture the snow melting and I can hear the sounds of the bat and everybody screaming and yelling and I could smell the sausage and peppers at City Field and I'm all in. I think the moves that we've made in 2026 like you say, you're looking at the depth chart, you're looking at the new acquisitions and I'm looking at maybe a new dynamic in the clubhouse and I'm gonna be you brought up, I didn't even consider that fact that the Braves haven't really made moves and the Phillies are not feeling optimistic because they haven't really made any big moves either. But why not? Why not let this be our year with they're not small, but I almost want to say the small moves that they've made. They're actually pretty big. They just weren't the blockbuster moves that some like the Dodgers have made or whatever. But I mean, NL East, it should be ours, and it could be ours, and I think it will be ours.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it too. And Blake, you and I are about the same age. I turned 50 a couple of months ago, and we've seen a lot of teams. Tampa Bay is a perfect example where they make very little moves or very quiet moves where the Yankees make these big splashes. And then next thing you know, Tampa Bay's in the World Series or Tampa Bay wins the division. So it doesn't always have to be the big splashes. It has to be the moves that make sense for the team. And, it makes a lot more sense in May and June when you're seeing the team 3 games, either 3 games out of first place or 3 games up. And you're looking at it and going, hey, this isn't as bad as I thought. Right.
Yep.
I mean,
just get somebody to play first base, and I'll feel a little better. Or
are you
tell
up
me,
for the
tell me,
job?
I am lefty,
You
so
can play first base then.
right?
You know,
I'll do it. It's probably a little
if you're
bit
up
of
for
a
the
bump
job,
in
you're
pay.
younger than I am, so you're up for the job. I played pickleball with some friends the other night, and this guy hit a spin with the ball, and I went to go turn, and my shoes slipped on the court, and I ended up doing a Pete Rose across the court. I got a couple of bumps and bruises. I'm like, wait a second, that feels a little different when you're 50 than it does when you're 25. So,
Yeah, yeah.
and the guys I was
Well,
playing with were like 23, 25, 27. I'm like, fellas, I'm keeping up with you, but come on.
this hurts. It's not pain free.
No, it isn't. So yeah, if you want to sign it up, that's fine. Or, you've got somebody in your house that used to play baseball, so maybe you can just have him throw on a jersey and go to first base, right?
That would be better than me. I mean, I'll never forget one time. This is years ago. My nephew's in his 20s now. He's turning 26. But when he was little, we were having a catch at my parents' house, and he said to me, he's like, "Uncle Blakey, if you love baseball so much, why are you so bad at it?" So that's the truth about my athleticism in baseball. I love it, but there's a reason why I'm pushing scenery around and not playing first base.
Yeah, but you're a surfer though, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
see, I couldn't stand up on a board to save my life. If somebody says you have to stand up and you have to ride these 2 waves, otherwise we're ending you, I would say just end me right here. Let me have my last, meal, and it's good. I can't do that.
Well,
So
listen, that's maybe not a lot of things in common between those two sports, baseball and surfing, but they're probably two of the hardest right? Hitting a baseball
mhm.
and catching a wave are the two of the harder things to do in any sport, I think.
Yeah, 100%. And Blake, I grew up, next to Surf City. I grew up next to Huntington Beach, and the Open is always there every year. And don't get me wrong, as a high school kid, we used to always go there because that's where all the girls were at, right? The beach, the girls, perfect. That's where we're going. But yeah, I've gotten out there a couple of times, and No, I'm just. But you're right. Catching a wave and trying to hit a baseball, man. That's funny.
Yeah.
Did you tell your nephew, hey, watch what you get for your next like 12 Christmases?
It definitely
Like,
stung a little bit, but yeah,
you know.
he wasn't wrong, so I couldn't hold it against him.
He wasn't wrong, anyways. Oh man. Okay, Blake, stick around for a second. Everybody. Next week, Sam will be back on with us for Around the Diamond. If you don't know Blake, you'll see him a lot more throughout the season. As the season happens, I could spend the next hour and a half bragging about this guy and never get to the bottom of it. I mean, the beautiful part about Top Fan is we've gotten to know people, but not only getting to know people, but becoming friends with people. And I consider Blake a friend. Anytime I go to New York, he's one of the first people that I tell, okay, we're coming. This is the dates that we're doing it. And it's just fantastic. He's come out here. It's been wonderful. So as always, it's always an honor to have great people on. So Blake, thank you so much for the time this morning. I appreciate it. And,
Awesome. Thank you. It was fun.
yes, and we'll look forward to having you on. Arise is another second baseman, Mike says. That's right. Yes. All right.